Step 3, you grow hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be.
Hey, welcome to Tales from the Field, everybody. My name is Bradley Ball, and it is so good to have you with us. We are back and better than ever. Oh, no sound?
No, I'm just messing with you.
Well done, Marco. Well done. I got the thumbs up from Dan. We have sound today. And so welcome to the Azure Data Community Roundtable. We're bumping everything a week. Don't worry, we're still going to have some wonderful fabric goodness for you on our technical video, but we're dropping it tomorrow so that we can bring you the Azure Data Community Roundtable today. Last week, let's do a quick recap. We were back with our monthly fabric update. You don't want to miss that. Bradley Schacht, Saquant Corer, Alex Powers, all from the Fabric PG joined us, and we talked about so many different things coming out of Ignite. We talked about Fabric SQL database. Wonderful stuff. Make sure that if you missed that you go over and check it out, because all of your updates for the last month are right there in one place. Then on Wednesday, I released a new video, an introduction to Fabric SQL database, #FabSQL. It's catching on. I heard it today a couple times, and the day is still early. And tomorrow we are back with more fabric goodness for all the wonderful fabricators out there. There is so much to see, so much to do. You don't want to miss a thing. If this is your first time finding your way over to Tales from the Field, give us a like, give us a subscribe. If you want to interact with the show, it is so easy to do. So all you have to do is make a comment on the stream, and one of my amazing co-hosts will see that stream, and they will add the conversation to it. You will be a part of the show. Speaking of those amazing co-hosts, I am joined by the mountain man, Mr. Daniel Taylor. I am joined by the best beard in the business, Mr. Andrés Padilla. Our own Robin Hood, Marco Aurelio Cardoso, and then the man in the hat, Mr. Josh Luedeman. Well, he's on a boat, and he's on a boat saying, "Look at me, straight floating in the deep blue sea, busting 5 knots, wind whipping at his coat." You can't stop him because he's on a mother boat. He's not here today, but the thing that is realer than that boat is Mr. Neeraj Jhaveri, my friend and yours. Welcome, absolutely everyone. Okay, so what do we want you to do? Well, we want you to be able to be a part of the Azure Data community, and a big way to be able to do that is to make sure that you go over to the Microsoft site and you register for the Azure Data community. We've got a monthly newsletter. If you are in a user group or looking for a user group, you can find a user group. If you're in a user group and a user group leader, you can submit your user group so you can be in a listing for people to be able to find. We want you to get in person. We want you to get virtual if you want to, because we have virtual user groups as well. But we want you to network and grow your career, because that's what being a part of the Azure Data community is going to do. Now, after we get you in the Azure Data community, what do we want you to do? Well, we want you to get some free training. And the best place in the world to go do that is SQLSaturday.com. As you can see, we have many locations that are already set up for 2025, and there are more that are going to come as the year is going along. When you go to a SQL Saturday, you're going to find people from Microsoft, top consultants in the field, MVPs, people who are passionate about the technology, presenting and bringing education to you for free, just wanting you to be a part of the community. And after you go to SQLSaturday.com, there's another place we want you to check out, and that would be DataSaturday.com. We can see there's already some wonderful events in 2025 happening. One in Austria, one in Denmark, and one in Croatia. And as we get closer and deeper into 2025, that list is going to grow and grow. And if you are a Microsoft Fabric user, well, we also want you to go and join our Fabric Learning Group. We're over there. The product group is over there. If you have questions, if you're a creator and you're adding content to the community, make sure and post it over there. Some of the content you're going to see today specifically on this stream is going to come directly from there. And one other location that we want to make sure that you go to, we want to make sure that you head over to Reddit, to the Reddit Microsoft Fabric group. Over 8,400 members are online on Reddit. Thank you to Mr. Alex Powers for running that and doing such a great job with that. That is the place in the community where you want to go to be able to get just some great and up-to-date information. Whew. All right, that was a lot. Talk to me, Goose. Andreas, how you doing? How was your weekend? Now that we are live and in person with actual sound, what is your update, my friend?
My update is that the our elf on the shelf, his name is Gordo, and he's a fat elf that eats a lot, and he keeps getting fat and fat and fat. And my kids are loving this, but he does threaten them with canceling Christmas constantly. So if they're bad, he will cancel.
I don't have an elf on the shelf, but I do have a Snoop on the stoop, and he and I just like to watch movies and munch on things. He's fantastic.
I'm not a huge fan of Gordo threatening to cancel Christmas there, Andres. I mean, I may have to come talk to Gordo. That's yeah.
Well, and Dan, at least you know he's not going to be able to run really fast because he's getting fatter and fatter.
Have you seen me? I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up either.
I was going to say me and Gordo are about the same speed right now, so I think you'll be fine. Well, I am missing our good friend, Mr. Josh Luedeman, but at the same time, I am just going to say it out front and on top that pepperoni and pineapple on greasy New York style pizza is king and is the greatest thing ever. And there's nothing he can do to stop it. Love you, Josh. Hope you're having fun. But it is time. That's right. Neeraj brought it up first. Did you mess up our live stream, Josh, just because Brad said pineapple on pizza? He may have. I'm not putting it past him. Josh does seem like he has the power to be able to bring down all of StreamYard in a single blow. And that's right. He's on a boat, Dan. And we want to make sure that you could hear the show today because you couldn't hear us yesterday. Took us about 10 minutes in. Thank you to DataBard, to Jared. Make sure and go over and check out DataBard on YouTube. He's got some wonderful videos. As a matter of fact, next week on the roundtable, maybe I'm going to have one of those. We'll just see. There's so much great content out there. You don't want to miss anything. And speaking of that great content, that's the reason people are here. And let's dive first over to a man who's always bringing the goods. You know who it is, Mr. Neeraj Jhaveri. Neeraj, what do we got going on here? We have Microsoft Fabric approved as a service with FedRAMP high authorization for Azure Commercial.
Yep, this was announced in Ignite. If people don't know about FedRAMP, this is the highest U.S. federal risk and authorization management program where it requires a lot of security in there. So I know our customers on the Gulf side were looking for us to have Fabric available in the FedRAMP side of it. It is available right now with some of the things still in preview. But yeah, this was announced like almost in Ignite. And if customers are looking for it to go for it, this is where you need to do it. Yep, that's exactly what FedRAMP is.
Absolutely. And if you're a government customer who requires FedRAMP capabilities and certification to be able to get on a platform, this is a big deal for you because this means that you've got this capability now with Microsoft Fabric. And that's wonderful because we want you to be able to enjoy this power and we want you to be able to enjoy it. Now, the link that I've got would have made a little more sense had this show happened yesterday. As it stands, this has already... Well, part of this has already occurred. There is a Learn Together SQL database in Microsoft Fabric happening right now on the Reactor channel. Specifically, what I was looking at was one that was going on from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. this morning, and it was using DevOps with Hamish and also with Heidi Hastings, our wonderful MVPs. I moderated that today. I was in the chat and in the comment helping answer questions. It was a wonderful, wonderful job. But you want to check out this series and keep in mind that all of this is loaded to the Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel. So if you are looking for Fabric SQL database content to be able to see this content after the fact, make sure and go over to your YouTube channel and check it out. This was a wonderful, wonderful session today. We had great interaction with the audience, and there's been a lot of people hopping on these live streams to be able to learn about Fabric SQL, and we're very, very excited to be able to bring that to you. Now, next up, whenever I see a blog by this man, I stop and I go, this is going to be good because the man is brilliant. And of course, the man bringing it to us is none other than the mountain man himself, Mr. Daniel Taylor. Chris Webb has a wonderful blog going, refreshing a Power BI semantic model with event streams, pipelines, and Activator. Dan, this is quite the trifecta.
Yeah, so first off, this is crazy. And Chris Webb actually acknowledges that this is probably over-engineered and expensive in terms of CU. but it's pretty incredible because a lot of us are trying to get in and understand what real-time intelligence can do for us. So the first thing Chris goes through here through a very detailed example. So I'm actually going to be doing this now that I have a subscription again, which by the way, I'm very excited about. He creates a Power BI semantic model over an Excel spreadsheet, and thank you, Buck Woody, for keeping Excel alive. He puts it inside an Excel spreadsheet, and then he, on top of that Excel spreadsheet that's in OneNote, he builds a Fabric event stream to take that data and see if the Excel file was modified. Once he does that, he then connects it to the activator, and he uses the activator. And Josh, you're not here. Josh loves activator. He's done some sessions on activator. He uses the Evacticator, the activator, to check.
I was going to say that's a new service that they haven't come out with yet in Fabric.
It's in private preview. Yeah, the Evacticator. Doofenshmirtz would be proud of me. So he uses activator to check if there have been any changes to the Excel spreadsheet, and if so, he refreshes his Power BI semantic model. Really cool article, really detailed. It's going to be fun to try this, but it's a great way to learn an end-to-end process and how we can do new solutions with our Fabric environment.
I absolutely love that. I think it's wonderful stuff, and I'm excited to be able to dive into this a bit more. And I think there's a video sitting in there. Great question by Gustav Leo. Gustav, by chance, does anybody know when we can create a SQL user in Fabric SQL? Great question, Gustav. So the answer to that is you cannot. One of the things that we've done with Fabric SQL is we have moved away from SQL logins. So you can only use a service principal or intra ID authentication with Fabric SQL database. Very, very important for us to understand. We cannot utilize SQL authentication. So if we've got a connection string for an application, we're looking at testing this, or if we're looking at using a third-party tool, that third-party tool really needs to support a service principal. But a service principal can be added to your tenant, and you can grant that the full permissions that you're going to need. That's one of those forward security things that the team is looking at. So I hope that answers your question. Great question, Gustav, and thank you for joining us today. All right. I'm so happy that we've got this next man up because he always brings the heat. And of course, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Mr. Andrés Padilla. Andrés, you have the book of AI. I didn't realize there was a whole book for AI. Lay it on me, buddy. What do we got going on here?
Oh, I love this little book right here. It's written by Rob Chambers. Rob, great quick starter here. For those of you who want to start working with Azure OpenAI services, AI Studio, the Azure AI CLI, this is a great quick starter. It'll jumpstart you. And you install Azure CLI, you install your Azure AI CLI, and then you can do a ton of quick things using the Azure AI CLI from the command prompt. You can deploy a C# application with semantic kernel. You can invoke and just call Azure OpenAI endpoint from that CLI. So I like doing things through the CLI. If you're doing things from the command prompt, this is the book you want. This will really quick start your development. And I use it for, hey, I want to just do a quick proof of concept. For quick proofs of concepts with command prompts, I love this book of AI.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. And real quick, I do want to mention all of the content from the show yesterday and today, because it's the same show, right? So the show yesterday, I've taken it down, so you're not going to be able to find it on the channel anymore. But all of the content from the show is already in the description of the video. So if you are looking for how to be able to find any of this great content, make sure and go check that out. Now, this next thing, I talked with him about this. I talked with Marco about this specifically when we were looking at Ignite coming up, and we were talking about some exciting new things that OpenAI had put in place. And I said, hey, I got a question from a customer. When do you think that Microsoft is going to have this? And he went, gee, I don't know, Brad. When's our next big conference? And I went, that's a wonderful answer. And I'm always excited to hear more about this. But so Marco, let's dive into this more. The Azure AI Agent Service, introducing Azure AI Agent. I'm very excited. Talk to me about this and let's understand what's going on.
Yeah, so this one has been a long time coming. We had multiple working names along the way. We finally landed on Azure AI Agent Service. And this, think about Assistance API, which we talked about here on the show. We even had Mona here talking about this a little while ago. And this is the evolution of Assistance API. We're moving into this new thing called AI Agent Service, and that brings to the AI platform, so it's an AI Foundry, all of this capability from Assistance with all the requirements that everybody has been asking about. So now you can use your own storage, your own models. You can connect the agent service to not just OpenAI, but also Llama, also other models from the catalog in AI Foundry. You get Bing search, you get a bunch of different new features that you integrate into your agents, and you can start, instead of starting from scratch, you can start with a whole bunch of connected plugins. This is really, really exciting. I had the privilege, this is right now in private preview, but there is a link somewhere in that blog post for you to sign up for that private preview. We're going public very, very soon. And this really promises a ton. We're moving away from just OpenAI or just a single service and into a whole lot of new functionality. Certainly check that out. I still don't know the full set of features that's coming with it. It's really a lot, but really exciting stuff that I'm glad to see coming to the service.
Absolutely. This is some fantastic stuff. I'd love to see the evolution of this. Love it if one day we get Mona back. I know we've been trying for quite some time. We had some issues over the summer and the fall, but what a wonderful guest, and her team is doing so much great stuff. Would absolutely love to hear from her. And let's see. I can see Dan. I needed to book my most recent interviews. Let's see. Neeraj said Andreas just gave a cheat sheet for your interview process, Dan. Each time I hear Llama, I think of a kid's book like Llama Loves to Read. You know what? That would be a wonderful way to be able to teach kids about large language models, although I'm not sure we should be teaching them about them. 50-50, half dozen to the other, but Llama's definitely got the best and the cutest kid kind of name so far. But speaking of something that is amazing and cute, well, that's Mr. Neeraj Jhaveri. And what is he bringing to us? He's bringing Monitor Fabric Spark applications using Fabric real-time intelligence. There we go. Second time around. There we go. 2 times.
Yep. So, Apache Spark diagnosis emitter for logs and metrics is something that people were asking for us for a long time, and it's now in I think it's in GA also. How you need to set up the environment? It goes by 6 steps. 1, set up your environment for your Spark notebook, Spark environment, event stream, event house. You just follow the steps in there. Then you go and configure the source from the event stream, and then configure the Spark properties in your Spark environment, and then once your destination, you figure it out what the destination is, you can query the logs and the metrics from your Spark environment. This is good for people who are always a big Lakehouse fan. They just want to understand what's my logs, what's my metrics, what's going on with my Lakehouse. It just gives you all the insights of it. You can also do it at KQLS in a KQL environment. You can do it. So.
What I love is this really, really empowers somebody to be able to take this logging mechanism, and this is a good template of how to do it, but how to specifically do this from a Spark perspective, how to capture this information and then use our real-time intelligence to be able to report off of it immediately. I love this. This is some great stuff, man. We've got a couple of these that just need to turn up on blogs. So I'm very, very excited about that. Something else I'm very excited about is that Bob Ward had I'm excited about what? I'm excited about new videos, Neeraj. Oh, did I delay? Did I?
No, it looks like Neeraj has
left the building.
left the building.
That's okay. We will get Neeraj back because that's what the people want. There he is. I see him moving again. Okay. Well, Bob Word had Anna Hoffman on her show. If you want to understand, hilarity ensued, but it was because Anna is the principal PM who has helped putting Fabric SQL together. And so Bob acted on as host on Data Exposed, specifically to talk about SQL database inside of Microsoft Fabric. You're going to hear a lot about this because this is a big deal. Because first off, SQL is a big deal, and SQL landing in Fabric is a very, very big deal. So they walk through this. Anna has demos. She answers questions. You're getting it directly from the source who helped put this together. And I loved watching Bob be able to be the host on here, because how many times has Anna had Bob on? It was a wonderful juxtaposition. And it was also a wonderful and really informative episode. So if you are learning about Fabric SQL, I encourage you, go check that out. Speaking of something that you want to check out, back over to Mr. Dan Taylor, the Mountain Man, Fabric real-time analytics dashboards and Power BI reports. Dan, what do we got going on here?
Yeah, so I ran across this article by Valerie Junk, and it does a great comparison of Fabric real-time analytics dashboard and Power BI reports. Valerie goes through here and says this isn't about deciding which one is better. It's more about deciding which one is the one that fits your needs. So Valerie goes through what a real-time dashboard is, an overview, the licensing model, its purpose, and some typical use cases, and then she does this for Power BI dashboard. And why I really love this article, Brad, is it's something that you and I just recently did at Live 360, right? I created a real-time intelligence dashboard. You created a Power BI report. And Valerie goes through here and gives some great detail also in the video on how to practice this. So I definitely recommend, if you attended our Live 360 session and there was some gaps in the knowledge that you left with, you can hit us up through email, but go through Valerie's video here. She does what we did to create those different types of reports against our data. Really great article, great summation of when and how to use it.
Great stuff. Nice job, Valerie. And make sure and check out the video in there, because I mean, look, if you're watching this content, more than likely you respond well to videos. And there is a video at the bottom of that page. There's also a link for a tutorial if this is something that you want to walk through as well. That's very exciting stuff, Dan. I can't wait to dig into that a little bit more. Speaking of something worth digging into, I think this is definitely the longest title of the week. And of course, you know who I'm going to, Mr. Marco Cardoso himself. Accelerate developer onboarding with the configuration as code customization in Microsoft DevBox. I think the only way I got through that title is because I flubbed the other one so bad earlier. Here
now
we
that's
go, Marco.
the thing. You
got?
think this is mine because it's a long title, but it is not. Mine is the next one.
Oh my goodness, I got these backwards. This is Andreas. Andreas has the longest video title of the week. Andreas, what do we got going on here?
Something that Marco and I are working on right now. We're working on creating new DevBox definitions, and DevBoxes are accelerate your development. How many times have you on-ramped on a new project? You're on a new team, and then they said, here's the code base, here's the Visual Studio environment that you need, and it takes you a week, 2 weeks to get it going. You have permissions, you have extensions you have to install, you have CLIs that you have to install, libraries, all that. Marco and I are working right now to automate a process that we have for a project that we're working on. This is awesome. You just get yourself kick-started. You go into the Azure portal, you set up a dev center. Inside that dev center, you set up a project. Inside that project, you define what type of image you're going to use. Am I going to use Windows 11? Am I going to have Visual Studio installed on it? How much storage do I need? What's the CPU? Then from there, you can start to customize things. You can create what are called tasks. And tasks are those extra little building block nuggets. Maybe you need to install a specific version of .NET. Maybe you need to install some application or some CLI using Chocolatey. Or maybe you need to download a GitHub repo onto your machine. Dev boxes and configuring the YAML to get this all going is super cool and straightforward. And on top of that, you get a nice extension in Visual Studio Code to help you along the way debug this, so you don't have to make a change, deploy. Make a change, deploy, because that takes time. With that extension in Visual Studio Code, you can make a change and test it out and see what happens. Awesome.
I love it. I love it. Great stuff. Okay, now over to the man. Hey, not with the longest title, but I'm always looking forward to what you've got to say. So let's bring it on, Mr. Marco Cardoso. I wanna get this going. Here's our last one for today. Introducing serverless GPUs on Azure Container Apps.
Yeah, so this one is a short title, but each word on it caught my attention. I am a big fan of serverless. I'm a big fan of using GPUs on Azure. I recently started using container apps more consistently, so this one got like an 80% hit on on my brain. And the reason I like this so much is I've been talking a little bit in the previous roundtables about GPUs and how important they are for AI. And how hard it is to get your hands on a GPU these days. Now, because I come from a developer background, I love tinkering with stuff. I like to play around with this new stuff without spending a ton of money and with an easy setup. And this is what serverless GPUs are all about. This means you can set up your app, your very powerful app that runs on GPUs and trains models. And here in this blog, you'll find an example here that uses Stable Diffusion to generate images, all without having to provision a GPU for the whole month. So you can use it just as long as you need it for. It scales down to 0 once it's out of usage. And of course, it takes a little bit of time to spin up and start working, but once it's there, you get this GPU available to your application for some amount of time. A couple of things that are incredible about it. Well, number one, it comes with the best hardware in the business. But number two, it comes with all the code you need to get started. So it will show you exactly what you need to do. If you've configured GPUs for work locally before, you know how hard it is. It's not straightforward. You have to install the right library versions. It's all over the place. And this really streamlines that work. So really glad to see this and can't wait to try it out.
I love it. That is fantastic stuff. And everybody's looking to save money, and serverless is a big way to be able to do that. That auto scale up, auto scale down capabilities to be able to utilize that GPU is just fantastic for us to have. I'm not sure the context of this. Oh, Dan, go ahead.
No, that's incredible. I'm just thinking of all the animation studios, the smaller animation studios that are trying to get off the ground and compete with the large ones. This could save a ton of money for them because they could come, use what they need, and then drop off, right? They don't have to invest all this money like the large studios can. So I'm excited to see what that could bring to the community. That's really freaking awesome.
Yeah, and even more than that, you can have like these folks are going to be experimenting with a ton of different models, right? You don't want to just have one single model that you host and use for everything. Because it's serverless, you get to have these APIs, like 10, 20 different endpoints working at all times, but only provision when you're using them. And you mentioned animation studios. These guys aren't going to be generating stuff all the time, maybe 8 hours a day and at a specific moment in the day. So that surely saves a ton of money.
Awesome stuff. I am not sure of the context of this. Dan says, I love nuggets with Szechuan sauce. I do too. I don't know if you guys, I can't find it anymore, but McDonald's actually did a podcast on the Szechuan nuggets, on the Szechuan sauce phenomenon that hit due to Rick and Morty. And I remember when that happened, I would go up and I would order 40 nuggets and bring them home, and we would just house them as a family. And when they would say, what sauce did you want? I would say as much Szechuan sauce as you could give me without getting in trouble.
Yep. Andres was dropping nuggets, so I like nuggets with Szechuan sauce.
There we go. And there's the context right there. Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Do we have anything else to cover? We don't have any live events now as we're getting to the end of the year. We've got an Azure Data Community Roundtable next week, and we've got videos next week. But then we are going to get very close to being off for the year. Next week when we talk, we'll give you the date, but I think we're restarting the second week of January is when we'll be picking up again next year. Anybody have anything to cover? No? Going once?
No.
Going twice? All right. Well, as always, I appreciate you all so much for joining us on Tales from the Field from Neeraj Jhaveri, Daniel Taylor, Marco Cardoso, Andrés Padilla, and the missing but yet unquote Josh Luedeman. Be good to one another and take care out there. Bye, everybody.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.